Everyone, come here for a second, my mother-in-law said, tapping a spoon against the glass beside my daughter's birthday cake. Before we sing for Lily, this family needs to welcome her big brother. He was wearing a blue sweater I had seen in her shopping bag 2 weeks earlier. He looked about 4, with dark hair, scared eyes, and a toy car squeezed in his fist. My husband Ethan stood behind his mother with his jaw tight and his eyes on the floor. The cake in front of us had my baby's name on it. The banner said, "Happy first birthday, Lily." I was holding a candle shaped like the number 1. I did not scream. I did not point at the child. I just looked at Ethan and asked, "How long have you known he was your son?" He whispered, "Rachel, not here." That was when I understood the question was not whether he had lied to me. The question was how many people in that room had helped him do it. Before I tell you what happened next, remember to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you enjoy real stories about betrayal, family drama, and people finally standing up for themselves. Ethan and I had been married for almost 3 years. His mother, Linda, had always been involved. I thought she was just excited. When I got pregnant, she called Lily our baby so often that my own mother once asked if I was okay with it. I told myself it. Linda had opinions about everything. The nursery color, the stroller, the hospital bag, who should be in the delivery room. When I said I only wanted Ethan there, she cried and told him I was keeping her away from her first grandchild. Ethan asked me to be patient. "She means well," he said. "Don't make every little thing a boundary." That sentence became his favorite way to make me feel unreasonable. After Lily was born, Linda got worse. She came over without asking. She corrected how I held the bottle. She told guests I was still learning even when Lily was healthy, fed, and sleeping on my chest. Once, when Lily was about 3 months old, Linda looked at her in the stroller and said, "At least this time Ethan gets to be there from the beginning." I asked, "What does that mean?" She blinked fast and said, "I mean because he works so much. Don't twist my words." Ethan told me later that I had embarrassed her. Another time, I heard him in the garage on the phone. His voice was low and sharp. "Mom, stop pushing." Rachel's finally stopped asking questions. When he came back inside, I asked, "What questions am I not asking?" He looked annoyed before he looked guilty. "The birthday party," he said. "You keep acting like my mom is trying to take over." I wanted to be wrong. I really did. The party was supposed to be simple. Cake, balloons, some pictures, and a few relatives. Linda turned it into a family event at a restaurant banquet room. "A first birthday is not just for the baby," she said. "It tells the whole family where everyone belongs." That line bothered me. I did not know why yet. A week before the party, Linda asked me to send her Lily's slideshow so she could add a few family pictures. I said I already had enough pictures. Ethan gave me that tired look he used when he wanted me to feel small. "It's a baby slideshow, Rachel," he said. "Not a custody hearing." So I sent it. But something in me kept the original file on my own laptop. I also told the restaurant coordinator, a woman named Maria, that I wanted the HDMI cable near my seat so I could test the slideshow myself. It felt silly at the time. It mattered later. 3 days before the party, Linda brought over a gift bag. Inside was a blue sweater, size 4. Lily was turning 1. I held it up and said, "This is way too big for her." Linda snatched it from my hands so fast, Lily startled in her high chair. "That was mixed in by mistake," she said. But her face changed. That was the first thing I could hold in my hand. The night before the party, Ethan asked me if I could try to be welcoming tomorrow. I was packing diapers into the baby bag. "Welcoming to who?" He rubbed his forehead. "Just don't make a scene if Mom brings someone you don't expect." I stopped folding Lily's yellow cardigan. "Ethan, who is your mother bringing?" He stared at the floor and said, "This is why I can't talk to you. You always assume the worst." That was when I knew this was not a misunderstanding. He had the tired voice of a man who had rehearsed a fight and was annoyed I had started asking before the stage was ready. I did not argue. I just nodded. Then I waited until he fell asleep. I am not proud of what I did next. But I am not sorry either. Ethan had an old kitchen tablet that was still connected to his messages. It usually sat near the coffee maker because he used it for recipes and grocery lists. That night, I typed Linda's name into the search bar with shaking hands. The first message that came up was from 6 months before Lily was born. Linda. Rachel still doesn't know about Noah? Ethan. No. And I'm not telling her while she's pregnant. I stared at those 2 lines until the kitchen seemed too quiet. Noah. There was a name. I kept scrolling. There were not thousands of messages. It was worse in a way, because it was simple. Ethan had dated Noah's mother right before he met me. She told him she was pregnant shortly before our wedding. A paternity test came back after we were married. His mother knew. His sister Maya knew. A few relatives knew. I did not. They had talked about me like I was a problem to manage. Linda. Rachel is too emotional right now. Tell her later. Maya. How much later? Linda. After the baby comes. She'll be softer then. Then, months later, when Lily was already born. Ethan. I can't keep doing this forever. Linda. Then stop giving Rachel choices. Bring Noah in front of the family. Once everyone sees both children together, she will have to accept reality. My hands went cold. Then I found the message that explained the birthday party. Linda. If we introduce him at Lily's party, Rachel can't act ugly without looking cruel to a child. Ethan. I don't want drama. Linda. Then tell her after. Not before. If she knows before, she will say no. And then Ethan wrote the sentence that broke something cleanly inside me. Ethan. She'll be mad. But she won't leave. She cares too much about keeping Lily's family together. That one hurt because it was not completely wrong. They were counting on that version of me. I took screenshots. I emailed them to myself. I saved them in a folder called Birthday Receipts, because my brain needed a boring name for something that felt unreal. Then I saw one more thing in the messages. Linda had asked Ethan to let her edit the slideshow. When Noah's picture comes up after Lily's baby pictures, she wrote, "People will understand this is about siblings, not Rachel's feelings." I did not sleep much. You know. In the morning, Ethan acted normal. He made coffee. He kissed Lily on the head. He asked if I remembered the candle. I looked at him and thought, how many normal mornings have been sitting on top of this? At the restaurant, the room looked beautiful. Pink and gold balloons. A little photo table. Lily's cake in the center. Guests came in with gifts and kissed Lily's cheeks while she clapped at the attention. For almost an hour, I let myself hope Linda might back out. Then I saw Ethan check his phone, look at the door, and go pale. The room quieted before I turned around. Linda walked in holding Noah's hand. The blue sweater was on him. She did not come in quietly. She walked straight to the cake table. She put Noah beside Lily's high chair like she was arranging a photo. "Everyone, come closer," she said. "We have a family blessing today." Ethan stood behind her, silent. Linda smiled at me. "Rachel, don't look like that. This is Ethan's son too. That makes him Lily's big brother." Someone gasped. Someone whispered. "His son?" Noah looked terrified. That was the only reason I stayed calm. My anger did not belong to him. It belonged to the adults who had placed him next to my daughter's cake like a test I was supposed to fail. I crouched slightly so my face was level with his. "Hi, Noah," I said. "You didn't do anything wrong." Linda's smile flickered. She had been ready for me to be cruel. When I wasn't, she changed tactics. "See?" she said loudly. "Rachel is shocked. But love is bigger than shock. Children should never suffer because adults feel jealous." There it was. Jealous. A small, ugly word placed in front of 30 people. I looked at Ethan. "You knew she was doing this." He lowered his voice. "Can we talk outside?" "No," I said. "You chose this room. We can talk in this room." His face tightened. Linda picked up the microphone we had set aside for the birthday song. "I think we should all take a breath," she said. "Today is about family. Sometimes adults make mistakes, but punishing an innocent little boy would be wrong." An aunt near the back murmured, "She's right, the child didn't do anything." For 1 second, I felt the old reflex rise in me. Explain, defend, prove I was not jealous, prove I was not cruel, prove I was a good person. Then I remembered the message. Rachel can't act ugly without looking cruel to a child. I looked at Maria, the restaurant coordinator, and quietly asked, "Can you plug in my laptop?" Ethan heard me. "Rachel," he said, "don't." That one word told me he knew exactly what I had. The screen behind the cake flickered on. For a second, everyone saw Lily's slideshow folder. Then I opened a folder called Original. Linda's voice sharpened. "This is not appropriate," I said. Neither was using my daughter's first birthday to introduce my husband's secret child. The room went completely still. I opened the first screenshot. Linda, "Rachel still doesn't know about Noah?" Ethan, "No. And I'm not telling her while she's pregnant." Nobody spoke. I opened the second screenshot. Linda, "If we introduce him at Lily's party, Rachel can't act ugly without looking cruel to a child." Ethan's sister Maya put one hand over her mouth. I opened the third screenshot. Ethan, "She'll be mad, but she won't leave. She cares too much about keeping Lily's family together." That was the moment Linda stopped smiling. A man from Ethan's side of the family, his Uncle Paul, looked at Ethan and said, "Is this real?" Ethan did not answer. He did not have to. Linda tried to recover. Private messages taken out of context can be very dangerous. I nodded once. "Then give the context." She looked at me. Then at the screen. Then at the guests watching her. For the first time since I had known her, Linda had nothing prepared. Ethan stepped closer to my laptop. I closed the lid halfway and said, "Do not touch my computer." I did not raise my voice. That made him stop faster than yelling would have. He said, "You're humiliating me." I said, "No. I'm showing what you did. There is a difference." Then Maria, the coordinator, whispered from beside the projector tape, "Do you want me to switch it back to the slideshow?" I almost said yes. Then the edited slideshow started by itself from Linda's thumb drive still plugged into the restaurant system. Lily's newborn pictures flashed across the screen. Then her first smile. Her first Christmas. Her standing with her hands on the couch. Then suddenly, there was a photo of Noah. Under it, in Linda's neat white text, were the words, "Lily's big brother Noah. Welcome home." The room made a sound. Not a gasp exactly. More like everyone understanding something at the same time. Linda had not just planned to introduce him. She had planned to put him inside my daughter's birthday video. She had planned to make the whole room clap before I even knew what was happening. Uncle Paul looked at Linda and said, "You added that without telling Rachel?" Linda's face went red. "I was trying to make peace," she said. Maya suddenly said, very softly, "Mom, stop." Everyone heard it. Linda turned on her. "Maya." Maya looked down at the table, then at me. "She told me not to warn you. She said if you knew before the party, you would ruin it." That was the second silence. The first silence had been shock. This one was collapse. Linda put her hand on Noah's shoulder, but even that looked wrong now, like she was still trying to hide behind him. I took Lily out of her high chair. She had frosting on her sleeve and one sock halfway off. She smiled at me because she was one and had no idea that adults had turned her birthday into a trap. Ethan followed me toward the hallway. "Rachel, please," he said. "I was going to tell you." "When?" I asked. He looked away. That was answer enough. In the parking lot, he tried again. "Noah was born before we were married. It wasn't cheating." I buckled Lily into her car seat. I needed my hands to do something normal. "Maybe not," I said. But lying to me every day after the paternity test was still betrayal. Letting your mother corner me at my daughter's birthday was still betrayal. His voice got sharper. "You made this about you." That was the last sentence I needed. I closed Lily's door gently and looked at him. "Do not come home tonight." He said, "It's my house too." I said, "Then I will go somewhere else." And I did. I drove to a hotel 10 minutes away. Lily crawled around on the bed with a plastic cup while my phone started buzzing so hard it slid across the nightstand. Linda texted first, "You embarrassed a child today. I hope you are proud." Then Ethan, "You need to calm down before you damage this family more than you already have." Then Maya. I'm sorry. I should have told you. By bedtime, the family story had changed. Rachel exploded at a birthday party. Rachel was jealous of a little boy. Rachel could not accept that Ethan had a past. But screenshots do not get tired. They do not start doubting themselves. They do not apologize just to keep the peace. I sent the 3 messages to the family group chat with one sentence. Please explain where I misunderstood this. For 12 minutes, nobody typed. Then Uncle Paul wrote, I was there. Rachel did not attack that child. Linda, you owe everyone an explanation. A cousin left the chat. Another cousin sent a screenshot of a Facebook post Linda had made 10 minutes earlier. It said, some women cannot put children before pride. But I will always welcome all of my grandchildren. While I was looking at it, the post disappeared. Then Maya wrote in the group chat, Mom planned to use the party because she thought Rachel would be too embarrassed to say no. I knew about Noah and I should have told Rachel. I'm sorry. That was the aftershock Linda had not planned for. She could explain away my anger. She could call me jealous. She could say I was dramatic. But she could not explain her own daughter saying the plan out loud. Ethan called 14 times. I did not answer. I texted one sentence back. Anything about Lily can be written down. He sent a long message around midnight. Most of it was about how scared he had been and how his mother had pushed him. But one line mattered. I thought if everyone was there, you wouldn't walk out. I read it 3 times. Then I saved it. The next morning, I went home while Ethan was at work and packed what Lily and I needed. Clothes, documents, bottles, her favorite blanket, my laptop, and the framed newborn photo from the hallway. I left the party decorations in the garage because I could not look at them. I also left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter. Not for drama. Because I could not wear it while my hand felt like it belonged to a woman who had been lied to on purpose. A few days later, Ethan asked to meet. I chose a coffee shop because I did not want to be alone with him. He looked exhausted. For 1 second, I almost felt sorry for him. Then he started talking. I was overwhelmed, he said. I didn't know how to tell you. Mom made it worse. You have to understand how hard this was for me. I listened until he ran out of ways to make himself the center. Then I asked, why Lily's birthday? He stared into his coffee. I thought you wouldn't want to make a scene in front of everyone. It was the same truth from the text. Just wearing a sadder face. I said, you didn't choose that day because it was kind. You chose it because you thought it would trap me. He did not deny it. That helped me more than another apology would have. There was no movie ending. Nobody clapped for me. His whole family did not line up to beg for forgiveness. Noah's mother never called me. I have never blamed her child for any of this. But the story changed. Linda stopped posting about family values after Uncle Paul commented under one of her vague posts. This is not the version of events I witnessed. That comment was deleted too, but not before people saw it. Maya sent me a real apology. I accepted the words, but I did not use them to reopen the door. Ethan sees Lily on a temporary schedule while we sort out the bigger decisions. I keep everything in writing. I do not take calls from Linda when she texts about the children needing each other. I answer only if it is directly about Lily and necessary. I hope Noah is loved. I hope he grows up knowing none of this was his fault. But I also refuse to let adults use an innocent child as a shield for a dishonest plan. Update. Lily and I are in a small apartment now. The kitchen cabinets stick. The living room gets too cold at night. Her crib barely fits beside my dresser. But no one walks into my home with a secret and tells me to smile because family is watching. Sometimes I still feel embarrassed when I think about that party. Not because I showed the messages. Because I remember cutting fruit, hanging balloons, and smiling for pictures while so many people already knew what I did not. That is the part I am still healing from. But I am not crazy. I was not jealous. I was not cruel to a child. I was a wife who found out her husband and his family had treated my consent like an inconvenience. They thought I would stay quiet because I cared about keeping the family together. They were right about one thing. I did care. I just finally understood that a family built on public pressure and private lies was not the family I was trying to save. Thanks for watching. If you were in my position, what would you have done? Leave your thoughts in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more stories like this.